Welcome back, everybody, to Baddy Overwatch League Season 8, Week 2, Map 2. We got ANGEY versus SDFK. It's going to be a great one.
Now
Starting
entering
off on King's
King's
Row
Row.
here. And Thomas, who do you think is favored in this matchup on King's Row?
Um, I would
Initiating
honestly
match.
say it's probably we Angie, and I have absolutely no reason to say this as I don't know their compositions or what they're playing at all. But just from the results last week, they swept against your team
Yeah.
and social distancing SDFK. Um, it was very close with our team last week. So just based on last week's results and how they were playing, I would say
Ready for
no
battle.
talk. We Angie will have an advantage here.
And do keep in mind that Zarya, Pharah, Symmetra, and Lucio are all banned this week. Neither of the teams can choose to play them, and the new character Echo is also
Attackers
banned.
incoming
So
in
we're
30
looking at
seconds.
5 characters, 5 heroes out of the roster this week. And without, I'd say without Lucio, Kings Row is going to be rough for both teams because both teams like running uh, Zarya and Ryan or Lucio.
Yeah, yeah. What I'm interested to see is if Senpai is gonna stay on this Bastion, because that would be an interesting pick. But
That would be quite the interesting pick.
Five, four,
no,
Just saying
disappointed. No,
it's
no Bastion.
attackers
I'm very
incoming.
disappointed.
Defend
Yeah,
But we will
Chris-
have to watch out for dreaded DPS on this Widow here. He'll have plenty of sight lines and not much pressure at all, so they'll have to be careful.
Ryan gets wall up and ooh, Dreaded picks off Chris DPG. Doomfist is down for good. Reinhardt's gonna back up here. Locket's gonna get caught out. Wonder if he's gonna get Mabel off, but Senpai killed Ryuku. And Dreaded picks off Chris again on the Widowmaker. Nice delta kill for Dreaded in this first team fight. And Dreaded looking like he's out of position. He's gonna use that block to keep himself alive, but the entirety of red team is surrounding him and looks like he might be trying to make his escape. Harry Houdini on the back line here, shooting Honor in the back of the head. But he's gonna get flashbanged and shot in the face by Senpai.
Yeah, blue team though is picking up the kills here, so they should
A nice
be able to
anti-hit.
hold.
Kudo gonna trade with the Reinhardt on social distancing. And Notaku Angui has almost all of their ultimates online right now. Supercharger, Nano Boost, and Baptiste Waller coming up right now.
Yeah, that's a very impressive hold.
What a nice May wall to block off that Baptiste wall. It's like almost 6 ultimates up for no talk. The Shatter comes out. Dark hits 4, but Immortality keeps him alive. That wall comes out. Daddy's gonna get it shut down by Dreaded. Everyone's gonna get frozen. Tunisub's gonna maybe cap the first tick. No, they're not gonna cap the first tick. And they're just gonna be cleaned up by Dreaded and Orisa.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Dead Axolotl's mail there and Dreaded's use of Infocytes there to help them slow down the pace that that Notaki we Angie were. No, it's SDFK. That when they were attacking, they slowed down the pace, which helped them get their spawns back from the long distance they have to travel.
We got Chris DPG in the Doomfist. I want to see if he's going to combo his Reinhardt or his Vap Wall and his Rocket Punch together. Oh, looks like Senpai's going to get walled off by the Mei. Will they clean up? They will clean up. Senpai goes down first for this fight. Doomfist in the backline though. Maybe he can make a hero play and shut down that Widowmaker, or maybe shut down one of the support on his super vulnerable getting punched. And she goes down right on cue. Commentator's curse. Sorry about that, Blue Zinga. And looks like Sigma's gonna force Widowmaker off of high ground here. Uppercut onto the Mei. Not gonna finish her off. First Shatter comes up from Rakudo. Gonna hit the enemy Reinhardt, but he's gonna get picked up by Sigma ult. Brought back down to the ground. Baptiste Fields coming out to save their team. Maywall on point. Or May ult on point. Mel's trying to stay alive and gun down Bark. She gets 2. But will be enough to save her team. Mapwall comes out as well as Nano Boost onto the Orisa. Halt's gonna find Tunisub. Tunisub's gonna go down. Doomfist combos an Ana and looks like he's gonna land with me. Kills the Ana with a punch to the face. Mel on point by herself with a Doomfist. That's never a good place to be. If he's gonna look for punches onto on Chris. She gets taken down. Rakuto on point, trying to save his team point, but I don't think he's gonna have enough steam to keep it going. And
Fight wraps up.
social distancing takes first point.
Yeah, it's a very long and staggered out fight. I think it would be better for either team in order to finish that up. Better would be to back off and either give a tick or.
Somebody kills Mel with a pulse bomb. That's a long respawn, a long walk.
Yeah, but they're just looking for staggers right here. If they can get any, that's massive.
I think they might pick up Dreaded.
Yeah, they picked up Chris.
Active block is gonna go down. He trades his life for a kill into the Mei and the Kree. That's honestly very valuable for social distancing. Gonna clean up another team fighter on this corner. And if they take out Rakuto with the Doom Fist, that's gonna be even longer for Notaku ANGEY to reset.
Yeah, right now, Notaku ANGEY is just continually getting picked over and over in these fights, and they're not able to fully regroup as a team and hold a good defense. Hopefully now that they're all back, they'll be a bit harder to crack.
They do have Mail up. No, what a snipe onto the Tracer. Mail's gonna come out, gonna freeze and move. Social distancing off the card. I believe 6 feet from my measure. He's gonna be stuck in block. Are they gonna be able to kill her here? But then Shatter comes out, doesn't hit anything. Kudo's got his own Earth Shatter. He's gonna find Trace DPG on the Doom Fist. Gonna clean him up, and Coalescence coming out. Looks like it might clean up Notaku ANGEY. Or Notaku ANGEY is gonna clean up.
Senpai is looking for the C9, so
Senpai
maybe he'll get lucky.
it's
Maybe
C9
he'll
he's
get
gonna-
lucky. C9, C9.
I wonder if looks like Marvelous Mel notices.
Maybe. But
Tired
can she
to
make
come
it back?
back. Senpai is gonna get a bunch of value out of that though. Now that they've cleared the way for their team. And
Senpai
looks like they're
is
still fighting on point.
on the C9, but he does get picked.
He gets picked, and wow, I think he lost all the momentum he gained from testing or back capping the point.
Yeah, SDFK now have to wait for their now Mei to get back from Senpai. Kurt will be traveling back the entire time they wait for him, so that distance might have been for naught.
They got Sigma ult here, and they might be looking to use it. Well, Ryan's slash. Deadeye comes out, along with Baptiste Wall. He's going to pick off Tunisub. Earth Shatter comes out, cleans up the Sigma, active block it. Not able to pop his ult before he falls. Bark going to get walled off and halted. TPG and Senpai fall as well. 10 seconds left. I don't think they're going to be able to touch the point.
Yeah, that was there weren't many like full team fights in that game when social distancing was attacking from either team. I find it very odd because most of these games we've had so far, they've been like complete team fights, whereas this one there's just a few picks that get taken and everyone's staggering back from point, and it's very odd. There's no clean team fights that we look for. It really helps the offense to get the clean team fights because the time gets burned down when these long drawn out fights are happening, so it doesn't give them much time to finish the point. Like we saw, they got stopped on second phase.
Definitely. And for Notaku ANGEY, it's very important to point out that they typically don't run Lucio and Zarya in their team line, or at least with the players say that they don't play. Mel does play Zarya, but she can play Orisa and other tanks, meaning that the bans this week are definitely not favoring social distancing at all.
Yeah, especially because last week when they were playing against us on both Hanamura and Li Zhang, they favored the sim a lot, and now that the sim is banned, it makes it a lot harder for them because they did very well on that comp. They were very coordinated and took team fights, but it looks like without that sim, it's much harder for them to get value.
And not only sim, but Lucio. Bark has listed Lucio at 5 out of his 6 heroes that he plays, and without Lucio this week, it's kind of rough. But bans don't mean everything. And looks like they might actually pick off Rakuto here. Falling dangerously low. Senpai's going to have to finish him off. And Dead Axolotl falls. And first team fight. Looking pretty rough for.
Yeah, very decisive though, so I'm a little happy with that. But one thing I don't like is a Sombra pick from Dead Axolotl. Not sure about the Genji either, just because Senpai on that
What about
Mei
the Mei?
and Crispy DPG on the McCree are just shut it down so much.
And now it
Baddy
looks like
switches to
Dead
the
Axolotl is back onto the Mei, with Dreaded back onto the McCree. A lot of switches happening. Dead Axolotl going to get caught off by Senpai, but he's going to be a proud to keep himself alive. Kudo charging in, pinning active locket. That's a bunch of damage. Doesn't see the Mei and the Reinhardt behind him though. Don't know if we're going to pick him off, and he ends up picking him apart. But a nice Earth Shatter. 3 people. Chris DPG's got Deadeye on standby though. Is going to pick off the Ana. Man, this team fight is pretty spread out. Rakudo going to take a bunch of damage, and Senpai's still clearing the way, freezing Mel in the process. Man, this next team fight goes to social distancing. Able to hold them back.
Whether it was intentional or not from Rakudo on his first charge, it made tons of space for his team, and it cut off Buck and Senpai, so that was very good. But the second one was a little aggro, a little greedy there.
Losing able to anti those two, so you can help finish them off. They have Nano Boost for this team fight. The Deadeye coming out from Dreaded DPS, gonna get walled off, and Rakudo's gonna be on the other side of the wall as well. But a halt from Mel into the still active Deadeye isn't gonna find anything. Sigma all picks up 3, Chris falls on the Brigida, and so does Dreaded and Rakudo. The Axolotl falls next, and Ana and Orisa are the only 2 that survive that team fight.
Yeah, social distancing had very good ult usage there, and they were able to easily clean up the offense using 2 ults.
My ultimate is
So
charged.
they still have
Well, we're seeing a passion coming out from Dreaded DPS here. I wonder what he's trying to do with that. He's gonna get a nice halt into the Bastion Rain of Fire, but without any damage boosts or anything. With all these Mei walls coming out, I don't know if that's necessarily the play. But might eat my words here in a second. Earth-shattering 5 people. Wow, and the Deadeye picks up 4. A massive flank shatter.
As he walked all the way around on the flank and shattered them from behind.
Team
I even ignored Bark. He got spectator
Where the
mode.
Rhine was. Never questioned where the Rhine was.
What a nice flank shatter by Bark and a Deadeye to help clean it up. Now we're looking at social distancing with 2 support alts with Coalescence and Brig Rally.
And potentially last fight.
Taki Yankee. Both Reinhardt's going to clash heads. Mortality Field comes out as well as the Mei ult. And frees up 3 people. Moira ult's not enough to keep them alive, and Brig and Moira are here on point by themselves. Chris DPG on the flank, going to pick up Luzinga and Dreaded DPS. Will Mel and an Earth Shatter from Rakudo is going to stop Chris DPG in his tracks. Otterbotter's is the only one left on point. I don't think she can pull off a 1v3. She won't be able to in the first points. Probably going to go to Taki Yankee.
Yeah.
And looking like Ball's gonna be able to touch here. Supercharger out, looking pretty rough. But anything can happen when Bark's gonna fall. Maywall's gonna come out, completely shutting off Team Sub from the point. Senpai split as well. No Taki Yankee loses first point.
stop the pain.
I think that's a big mistake from social distancing to push in there with Bark on the Hammond, because instead they could have waited as a whole team and tried to regroup and held them at the big arches, which are a very important choke point on this map. And instead they went in, they died, fed ult charge, and what they lost from it was the good positioning on Streets phase. They didn't gain, they gained a few seconds, but it was already very low on time. So
Both teams on street phase now. You're gonna have to fight into Dreaded DPS's Bastion. With the DPS on high ground. Mail's gonna come out. Looks like it's gonna freeze the Bastion in place. Mortality Field's gonna keep them alive. And Freeze gonna come out from Dead Axolotl. Gonna stop that Sigma ult in its tracks. And Sigma ult doesn't get value unless you're able to stay alive during the whole duration. And Noitaki ANGEY looks like they're gonna turn around and have one last fight here at the corner.
yeah, that looked
Actually,
like
not sure if Social Distance gonna be able to touch in the
I don't
meantime.
think they'll be able to. Dead Axolotl does have the wall, and they have a halt.
And they're gonna halt back the Hammond. Not gonna be able to touch. Wow. Noitaki ANGEY really turns that one around from the first point.
Yeah, they took so long in order to get that first point, but I really do think it was the mistake from
Play of the game.
SDFK staggering back into that point and not taking a team fight with the better positioning behind uh, behind the choke point on second point that just gave them the map.
And Maywall not fast enough, apparently. From Dead Axolotl. Or, yeah, Dead Axolotl. Man, what a nice first map. We're looking at Rialto here for our next map coming up, followed by Oasis. Now, Thomas, who do you think is favored here on Rialto after seeing King's Row from both teams?
I would go as to predict that Notaki ANGEY will, if they get held, they'll get held on first. But if they don't, I think they're going to roll through SDFK. Just based on that last map, I think SDFK, once they get that first defense broken, they'll crumble because they won't set it up again in a good position. I think they'll get pushed all the way back, and it'll be a goal from Notaki ANGEY. What are your thoughts?
I believe that I believe that social distancing can slow down Notaku Yangi. Of course, like you said, having them regroup and have a proper 6v6 on point definitely helps them a lot. But Notaku Yangi is very focused on their two shields of this comp. And I think if SDFK can find a way to either break those shields with Junkrat or maybe any other spam character. I like Chris DPG on the Doomfist, I think, and the Mei from Senpai. That combination together just shut down anybody's attempts to walk forward and could just go straight through shields.
Yeah, they did.
Notaku Yang is going to sub out and put McCree in for Dead Axolotl. And Rialto's going to get started up right now. Who do you think we're going to see on defense first, though? Orisa Rhine, Orisa Sig?
I like the Orisa Hog, actually, is what I like. But I could see the double shield coming out in either Orisa Sigma or Orisa Reinhardt. It depends on what they want to do with their team and what heroes each person plays. Because the Orisa Reinhardt is really good into compositions like the Ball Diva.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sigma is much better against longer range compositions because he has that extra spam damage.
And Notaku Angie is going to be the first team to defend here. Rakuto and Mel. Mel without her Zarya is looking pretty favored toward the Orisa. But looks like we're going to see Diva instead for this first defensive hold. Dreda DPS on the Widowmaker. McCree on McCree. Kriz on the Baptiste. Blue Zinga on the Ana. Oh, it looks like Mel's actually switched back to Orisa off of the Diva. And looks like they're going to run a double shield mirror with Active Locket on the Sigma and Bark on the Reinhardt. Here's DPG on the McCree, Senpai on the Hanzo, and Moira and Brig as the defense.
Purely based on compositions, I would say that social distancing has an advantage here. With Senpai on the Hanzo helps break shields so much faster than Dreaded on the Widow. So they should have an advantage just in composition. Dreaded DPS needs to get those picks.
But Dreaded can Glock people though. It's going to be very dangerous to push forward. But
you want to see
they're uncontested all the way up to the second ring here. Rakuto going to swing in, throw some fire strikes. Already halfway to his ultimate. It's very important with the Orisa and Rhyme combo. Chris is going to fall to Chris DPG on the flank. And they hold around this corner here with only one healer. Rakuto going to give up some space to let Bark walk in. A halt comes in. Rakuto going to pin in, but he's going to get stunned, pushed back. Active Locket got a very big angle on Notaku Angie. McCree and Mel are going to trade tank and healer on the side of SDFK. But they might be able to pull around this corner. First, going to get rocked. Fortified comes out. Chris DPG and Sigma are on point by themselves. But the Hanzo's asleep. Hanzo's asleep above them. That extra damage coming in from above isn't going to come in until he wakes up. Hanzo now back awake. Going to stand right behind Ana. Glock her. Gets turned on. Somebody's going to have to run, but Deadeye is going to keep them zoned into him. Deadeye pulls nothing. Both tank ults online for no talk or for based on FDSK. It looks like they're going to pick some Reinhardt up with the Sigma ult, slam him back down. They're going to win this first point pretty convincing.
Yeah, the acronyms are hard, but aside from that, the long extended fight really helped. Really helped SDFK because Senpai on that Hanzo was able to do so much more damage than Dreaded when he was playing Widowmaker. But he switched to Soldier and now he's on Ash, and Bluezinga switched to Mercy. So he's looking for those picks and hopefully he'll get a bunch of dynamite damage here. Those are what he's looking for.
And that dynamite's going to be huge value on the sides of Notaku Angry. Bapwall's going to come up. Fire Strike goes through. It's going to take down Active Locket on the Sigma. Man, Fire Strike through Bapwall does 200 damage. That's enough to kill a squishy target. And with that Orisa Halt, you know for a fact they're going to set that up.
Yeah, that is a very clean fight from Notaku Angry. They used their ultimates, and I'm glad not seeing a team just sit there and wait for the perfect opportunity. But they used their
Overwatch
ultimates
2
effectively.
release is perfect.
Yeah. Buck right now is holding his for Overwatch 2. I'd like to see him get a massive shatter in this fight, but
without Rakudo's Earth Shatter, Bark knows that he can play aggressively and into his shield, but these Orisa Halts are really ruining the positioning of SDFK. Is he not letting him walk forward as much as they want? Huge Hanzo is going to split off the Reinhardt. Reinhardt's getting dove here. He's going to get pinned out of his Earth Shatter and he's going to be taken for a ride. Daddy comes out on the sides of Notaku Angry. Going to pick off Senpai. Christy BG is going to pick off Dreaded. And SDFK looks like they're going to win this team fight pretty convincingly. Rakudo's going to be rezzed, however. Bluezinga picking him up. Looks like they might be able to hold him around the corner here. Deadeye comes up and Chris DBG is going to get halted away, but not halted far enough. Deadeye kills Rakudo instantly. With McCree on the with Chris DBG on the flank, he's going to get stunned and found out. Mel's holding the point by herself, but she can't get support because Active Locket's shield is blocking her healing. And SDFK wins third point, or wins second point. Going into third point with Moira ult and Sigma ult online versus Rakudo's Shatter and Bluezinga's Valkyrie. Oh, and Craze also has Bapwall. And I want to see Notaku Angry halt with Bapwall into Fire Strike. That can really ruin a team's day, especially if Reinhardt doesn't have Earth Shatter, so he can get it back super quickly. But considering Rakudo does have Earth Shatter, he's looking for both shields to go down before he can actually find one. Huge pull from Marvelous Mel. He's going to pick up Tuna Sub. Both Ryan's are going to need Flash. And Rakudo's going to get a bunch of ultimate charges back off from his previous Earth Shatter. Without Bap Shield, Active Locket misses his Sigma ult. A huge opportunity to pull them all together. He's going to eat that next Fire Strike from Rakudo, stopping him from getting ult charge. Now both support ults are coming out from Notaku Angry, holding around this corner here. Senpai does have the Hanzo ult, however. He might be able to split up Notaku Angry, prevent them from healing their tanks, like he did last time with the previous Hanzo ult. And it's gonna come out now. It's gonna catch Rakudo into his arms. Craze's Immortality Field is enough to save him, but he walks straight out of it. Bob's gonna uppercut the Brig and prevent her from getting any value. And Dreaded picks up 3 with help from his Bob, 4 with help from Bob. Reinhardt's gonna fall to McCree, and Chris DPG can't 1v6. But he might. Hold on.
he's trying.
He might. Unfortunately, Chris DPG can't kill 6 people by himself. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
Yeah. Right now, what we have to watch for in this next fight is for Senpai to have a giant wall that splits Rakudo from the rest of his team so that they can get a entry pick. That'll be very important.
Especially against the Mercy in a spot where she can't res, even the main tank, that's going to be super dangerous because now they can't tempo res their right. Deadeye's coming out from both teams, but Senpai's wall is going to prevent McCree from getting value on theirs. Deadeye picks off Rakudo, no need to wall him then. Supercharger comes out around the corner. Nice 4-man shatter for Bark. Another flank shatter. Another flank shatter. I really like that. This is the only one on point. He's gonna fall, and Notaku Angry looks like they might not be able to touch point.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Bark. He's getting these big shatters when they matter for his team.
Especially on the flanks, and especially when Notaku Angry isn't particularly looking at him. I think having the Sigma and the Rhine is giving them 2 shields to worry about. And I personally, from my tank experience, know that 2 shields is always something frustrating to deal with. Breaking 1 is so important that tunnel visioning on one for half a second might cost you your team, the team fight.
Yeah, all in all, I do have to say, I think the Bulk Active Rocket tank duo is doing very well against the Rikudo and Mel tank duo. I think in many
Ready
ways
for
they're
battle.
getting Mel and Rikudo are getting run over by Bulk and Active Rocket. It could be because the Sigma is allowing Bulk to get more space than the Orisa is because he can reposition his shield faster.
Attackers incoming.
And it also
30
could just be
seconds.
Bulk is playing much more aggressive than Rikudo, and he's playing aggressive when he needs to.
I'd definitely say, especially with the Maywalls from Senpai and the Sigma Shield from Active Lock, it definitely lets Bark move a little more freely around Notakumi Angie than an Orisa or a Zarya, or than a Diva would, now that Zarya's banned. Looks like both teams aren't going to make very many changes to their overall composition. In fact, I don't think any changes happened on... No, Dreaded's on the Hanzo.
Yeah, Dreaded's on the hunt. Senpai looks for a very aggressive wall.
And looks like she's going to fall for it. Bark trying to back up and keep himself alive. Rikudo going for another pin. Saved by the Immortality Field from Chris. That's riding along with the payload. Barrier falls. Holding shield for his team. Very aggressive with his charges. Going for another aggressive one on to Bark. Gonna make him fall. Man, he knows exactly when to hit that charge. Left shift button. Clearing the way for his team. But it looks like Dread's gonna fall to Senpai. Well, he peeks his angle. That might not be enough for them to clear the way to first point. Bark could charge his way back. If you're close to an Earthshatter here, might want to look out for one of those. And Chris with the Baptiste wall. A lot of value. McCree's Deadeye gets shut down by Senpai. But a Fire Strike to the Bat Ball instantly kills Otter. Chris DPG gets shattered by Rikudo. Looks like he's going to charge and pin in. Hanzo Wall coming out from Dreaded DPS and split up SDFK as they both fall. A huge anti-unit by Blue Zinga. Gonna leave the rest of the team unable to be healed by that Barrage. Reinhardt's going to pin in Rikudo all the way in the back line, missing his initial target. And it's like Angie looking kind of rough now that they don't have a Reinhardt. Definitely gets put to sleep. Bark swinging on the point, looking to hopefully save this one for his team. He's very close to Earthshatter, but he won't be able to pull it off on this team fight as he falls. Now on the point, getting dangerously low. Sigma on the grass, Chris DPG picking off Dreaded, but McCree picking him back off. Now Otter and Sigma are the only ones on point right now. Hanzo Walt's going to split Mel off the payload. Supercharger comes up from Mel, and Bark returns to the payload now with Earthshatter. He gets shredded instantly by McCree and Rikudo as he falls. Active Lock is the only one there, holding the, or only tank there for SDFK, while Deadeye from Chris DPG goes off in the background. Doesn't kill anything with the Deadeye, but forces Notakumi Angie to back up. As the other one on payload, he falls, and looks like first point's going to go to Notakumi Angie.
Yeah, they're doing well. My only criticism would be to have, it looks like Rikudo's on a different wavelength from the rest of his team. He goes very aggressive with some of his pins into their spawn, and the rest of his team just isn't there to help him. So he gets split off by
He's
himself.
getting picked up by Senpai early into the fight. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Rikudo's got that left shift taped down, you know?
Yeah.
It's actually Angie gonna get landed on by SDFK. Both the Reinhardts whiff their shatter. Both fall. And, wow, they retake that pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
Well, only one ultimate was used on that team fight for SDFK. Only used their shatter there. Pretty valuable team fight win with Sigma ult coming up, with Hanzo ult and Moira ult all very close to coming online. But Notakumi Angie has all of their ults, but their tank ults for this next team fight.
Yeah, I would like to see one of the, because I think both will get a shatter this fight, just based on how both teams are playing.
We're both Hanzo ult coming out.
Dreaded.
Sigma ult comes up from active Locket. Isn't going to be able to kill anything off it, but it forces Chris to use her immortality field. Rakudo inside the enemy team line. He's now one of them, but he gets taken out because of it. Free picks up that Moira, but Mel charging up the stairs to replace Rakudo in his position. She gets shredded as well. And looks like ANGEY loses another team fight. They used Baptiste wall that team fight, and they've switched off onto a Junkrat now. Very interesting how they're going to hold this first point. Nice response to the Deadeye by Active Locket and Bark, holding their shields and rotating their cooldowns properly to keep their whole team alive. Very good play by both of them. And Dreaded DPS taking refuge inside this 75 HP health kit room, just raining down pills onto the SDFK. Bark does have his Earthshatter over this team fight. Rakudo is close to his. Looks like we're going to see another Earthshatter face off. Chris DPG's Deadeye gonna peek around the corner and prevent No Talk We Angry from coming to point. Deadeye down. Hanzo Vault coming out from Senpai. Rakudo gets a nice Earthshatter on Junisub, but gets shredded by Dreaded DPS. Bap Wall comes out. Rakudo going off. Oh, I thought he went off the map. Flying off the map. He's gonna die to Active Locket. He's still on the flank with Mel. Rakudo gonna fall, walking into the team. Mel's gonna end up halting back to the Reinhardt. Chris DPG on the high ground now, pretty much uncontested.
Yeah, I would like to see in this upcoming fight the team trying to set up the ultimates more. It seems like with the Reinhardt shatters and the high noons, they're just throwing them out there and hoping to get something. I'd like to see a little bit more combos or setup.
A nice halt from Harvest Mel that's gonna break Bark's shield. Rakudo doesn't have first shatter, however. Nice Sigma picking up the main tank from the creep. Not gonna be able to finish them off, however. He's using Immortality to keep the team alive. Gets shredded instantly, but shredded DPS on the flank tire picks up 2. I might be able to swing the fight in terms of No Talk We Angry. Senpai gonna pick them off. Chris DPG with the Deadeye holding it in a pretty far angle. Not gonna get picked off yet. Gets killed by Dreaded DPS. Active Locket might not be able to touch point, and wow, looks like the second point is going to No Talk We Angry. And what a nice flank tire by Dreaded DPS. Not sure if you saw that, but he jumped across the wall, landed right behind him, and pulled out the PvP Twitch on them. That was a nice flank tire.
A true classic.
A true classic. You don't hate to see it. You love to see it.
This is why we love to see the switch.
The Jay Silly coming out here. Gonna do a bunch of damage. Senpai is gonna have his Hanzo Vault though. Not gonna get eaten by Mel. So it's switched over to the Diva.
Let them up.
Bap Wall plus Junkrat does a bunch of damage. Earth Shattering 2. Rakudo's gonna find 2, but not gonna Fire Strike them through the Bap Wall. He is, however, gonna Fire Strike through it and hit one of the tanks. Bark's gonna fall. Senpai's gonna kill Dreaded. 2 DPS down right now. Bark's, however, asleep as Rakudo goes for a nice pin. Not gonna pick up anybody. Oh, Free does have all the space he wants, just right into the team. I'm sorry, is it McCree or McRee? I don't think I am.
MC. Ah.
30 seconds remaining.
I always thought it was McCree. So.
Yeah, I thought it was McCree. Yeah, he's gonna come out. Baptiste Immor gonna come out and save him. Both teams are pretty even here in terms of ultimate economy. Rakudo's going in swinging. Without healing, his shield falls. Bark dangerously close to another Earthshatter. No Talk We Angry needs to be on the payload now. 4 seconds left. Deadeye is going to prevent him from getting there. Chris will be able to touch point. Deadeye's not going to pick up anybody else. Bark not going to be picked up. He picks up Blue Zinga with his pin. Going Rakudo style into the enemy team. But, man, it looks like No Talk We Angry isn't going to be able to continue. And they'll lose your ultimate.
Yeah, those were some very decisive ultimate from SDFK at the end there.
Victory.
They were able to secure the point with a giant pin and a big shatter. So I was very impressed with Bark's Reinhardt. It's very good.
And Dreaded TPS on the Ash. Man, this with the help of Bob. 4 people here, I
Bob's
think.
OP.
Bob is OP. When can we control Bob?
You know Bob, wall hacks?
Double.
Yeah, like just able to see people through walls. Insane.
Ridiculous.
I think we should give Bob a wall
No,
climb,
that's a vote
honestly.
of confidence.
Yeah, you're
I'd like
right.
to see that.
Legendary.
Give
That
Bob
we're
wall.
all in agreement.
Yep.
Any May wall just climbs right over it.
Yep,
May
yep,
puts
yep.
up a wall. The team's just like, oh fuck.
Able to leap a wall in a single bound. So they call him Bob, you know.
Explain, Noah. I
Uh,
want an explanation.
bouncing operating buddy. Take that.
You got me good. I
He's
thought you
actually
hated
descendant of
acronyms,
Rob,
but-
you know, from the game company, Sony. From their Nintendo console. Rob the Robot. Bob's a direct descendant of Rob the Robot. It's that hidden lore that nobody ever teaches you about.
I thought you were gonna say Rob from Smash Brothers.
I always said Rob from Smash Brothers because I forgot where he came from.
So now we're in Oasis. This
Yes.
is very different. The map conditions for Oasis is very different from the styles both these teams like to play with the double shield. Only University really fits the double shield Reinhardt oriented style. The other two maps have a lot more high ground and are very good for the DPS to pop off. So I'm hoping to see some clips made.
And I gotta apologize, McCree. I'm sorry for the one map you were on that I butchered your name the whole time. Please forgive me. Wait, what?
Welcome to
What?
Oasis.
Get shit on, Noah.
Fuck. Dude, last time I got
That's
destroyed
cool.
that bad, I fell on top of Wacky's mines, dude.
Initiating match.
So, Thomas, who do you think is favored here in Oasis?
I think it's a close matchup for both teams, and it'll really be important to see which McCree wins the duel for this high ground area. Like we saw on last map between Heron and Super T. When Super T won the duel, you guys won the point. So it's very important for this high ground.
Battle.
We do get to see the Senpai Torb, unless he's just baiting him. I would like to see the Senpai Torb.
I don't want to be debated. I want to see this Torbjorn.
That's
That's a lot of gonna play the Genji. Genji into Torb. That's a pretty dangerous matchup.
Bluzinga on the Ana, so we can see some big clips like I've been asking for.
3.
And Nanoblade
Let's
maybe?
see it. Let's see it.
A Nanoblade? Wow, it looks like the potential of the Nanoblade gonna come out. Dead Axolotl on the Genji. Both teams are gonna take high ground. Pretty comfortable comp for SDFK. Senpai picking off Dead Axolotl. Immediately into the team fight. What a pick.
He was baiting us with the Torb. How dare he? For shame.
Dead Axolotl gonna immediately switch to the other Shimada brother. Gonna mirror Senpai. Both teams looking at an almost mirrored comp. 2 shields. And both teams containing Hanzo and McCree. What a pretty quick capture here by SDFK.
Yeah, that one pick was everything.
Yeah, that pick was everything. That pick was everything. They shut down the momentum that Nozoku ANGEY could have had coming to the point. Dread DPS gonna pick off Senpai in response. A nice halt coming in from Mel. Dreaded gonna pick off Chris DPG as well. Man. Bark on the flank. Another flank shatter. Don't know if this is the right time for it. Not gonna be able to kill anybody with that flank shatter. As team Nozoku ANGEY flips point.
Usually on control point maps, we do see that whatever team wins the first team fight, so Nozoku v ANGEY, tends to win that map.
I think the first team fight was won by SDFK, if I'm not mistaken. So they have more charge than Nozoku ANGEY.
SDFK got one pick, but there wasn't actually a team fight there.
I guess you're right, yeah. A nice Earth Shatter into the shield from Recrudo. Both teams not having Earth Shatter. Dread DPS a nice flank. Gonna get rocked in the face and blocked for it. Recrudo going in for that nice pin. Now Nozoku ANGEY, completely different team. In the last 45 seconds, now standing inside SDFK's spawn.
Yeah, I would like to see more of this spawn gameplay. I am a fan, just like you, of walking into the other team's spawn when you get any amount of kills.
Yep, yep. Even if it's just a turret. Even if it's just a
Yeah.
turret down, go in.
Turret to kill too. Turret to kill too.
Especially the sim one. That's why I got such a big kill streak with my UAV. Nice Sigma, gonna pick up the Reinhardt here, but Hanzo's gonna try to keep him alive. Dead Axolotl gonna come up high ground. Chris DPG on the high ground doesn't have Deadeye, but he's able to rain in hell from above. Rikudo gonna pin Senpai with an Nano boosted pin. He's gonna Earth Shatter too. Are they gonna be able to finish that off? Bark answering back with an Earth Shatter of his own. Dead Axolotl gonna get rocked, and Rikudo gonna get hit by a fire strike. Chris DPG doing a bunch of work on the high ground, shooting at the backs. No talk with ANGEY. A huge anti-nade by Blue Zynga, but it won't be enough. And oh, you hate to see it. Bark on the teabag. But
Yeah.
FDFK.
I was impressed with Bark here. He built his shadow very fast, and he used it when he needed to. Again, we saw big plays coming from him.
Well, I would love to continue commentating. My mouse has died all of a sudden, as I get to see a nice, wonderful view of this pillow on the ground. Although I can't see that Bark has killed Rikudo. It's put more batteries in my mouse. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This fight not really starting here. FDSK gonna build a bunch of percentage on the point here as they're getting picked, preventing a team fight from starting. Without that Reinhardt, you can't walk forward. Huge fire strikes coming out from Bark. Gonna find another Earth Shatter in such a short period of time. Chris DPG gonna keep him away with a Deadeye. Gonna break Rikudo's barrier. Bark's gonna have Earth Shatter here, a free uncontested one at that. But he's gonna get pinned by Rikudo. He's gonna take him off the map. And wow, looks like we're coming up in the last team fight for no talking to me. With FDSK standing in, I'm butchering that name. With SUV butchering the enemy team inside their spawn. We don't know if No Talk Yankee is going to be able to touch point. Active Locket does have that Sigma. He can keep him on the point if he wants. Looks like that's what he's going to do. And No Talk Yankee is going to touch point.
Yeah, that was a very slow game. Usually on control point, you'll see a Lucio because it helps with those respawns so much. But because
Ready for battle.
Because social distancing from the cart was able to clean it up with the massive earth shatters from Bark, there's only 3 team fights that game.
Yeah, without the Lucio, neither team is able to return to point very quickly. And neither team is running ball or Winston, any form of dive at that. So both teams are going to be fairly slow.
3,
Coming back to the point.
1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
It looks like we see Mel and Rikudo on the Orisa Sig composition. Crazy Blue Zynga staying on the BAP and Ana respectively, and 2 hit scans coming up from No Talk ANGEY. Very similar composition from SDFK.
No Talk
Talk is
Yankee
gonna
looking
rotate
to
to the
take the
high
high ground.
And No Talk ANGEY gonna fight them in the stairwell here. They do control the point, however, as No Talk ANGEY can't contest them from the high ground. Or can't contest points from the high ground. But they're able to rain down damage onto them. Chris DPG, however, is asleep on point by himself. Gonna get killed by Dreaded, who jumps down to finish him off. Senpai's gonna pick off Dreaded, gonna break his kneecaps as he comes down to point. Ryu and Mel are the only 2 on point right now. Senpai's gonna start freezing Mel, but Bark gets put to sleep and woken back up by his teammates. A huge help from Mel does keep him away from her as Rikudo gets frozen by Senpai on the left side of point. Riz uncontested on high ground as he deals a bunch of damage and healing. Senpai on point gonna fall. Tuna sub along with them. And Riz DPG, only survivor of this fight.
That's a flip for No Talk Yankee. Although it was a large amount of percentage given over to social distancing. It took a very long time for No Talk Yankee to clean up any kills on that fight, even though they had the high ground and were able to continue raining damage into SDFK.
Bapwall and Sigma. Sigma's gonna pick up 5 people and bring them back down. Senpai just walking right into the high ground. Doesn't even care about the Baptiste wall. Dreaded DPS looks like he might get frozen, but he's gonna pop visor here regardless. I feel like it picks him up with a huge Earth Shatter from Bark. And Otaku ANGEY still controls the point and is going to clean up. What I would like to see from SDFK is ultimate combos between their Sigma and the Deadeye. Chris DPG and Active Locket could combo both of their alts and just wipe out Otaku ANGEY. Because they're holding the high ground, Baptiste Field can't save them while they're in the air. Could be a huge combo potentially coming up for SDFK.
Yeah, it would be. They're both at 90% ult charge, so they should get their ults at the same time.
Senpai is going to pick off Dead Axolotl. It's going to be a very nice start to this fight here. Rakuto and Mel on the low ground. Dreaded on the high ground. Get it rocked from across the map. Bark's going to pin Mel as the fight moves into the hallway. Going to chase down Rakuto up the stairs. But the Sigma coming out from Active Locket isn't going to kill anybody. But it will force Otaku ANGEY off the point. Good DPS, the only member of his team on point right now. Looks like he'll sneak out with his life as SDFK flips point. Axolotl gonna flank the Senpai Hanzo. Gonna pick him off. I thought he was gonna jump over him like last week.
Now we're in one fight territory for Notaku Yang. They just got this last fight, and they're coming up on both DPS ults.
Huge Deadeye gonna keep away Notaku Yang. They did have a pick. They did have a pick. Senpai isn't back quite yet. New sub is gonna fall down. And gonna get focused by Notaku Yang. Senpai is returning. And you won't forget what just happened. Finds Dead Axolotl in sight, but he will be flanked by him again and killed by him again. Sigma from Rakuto gonna pick up a few. Bark's gonna Earth Shatter 2. Keep them on the ground. Dead Axolotl and Guard DPS gonna follow up. Keep them down on the ground. Chris DPG, Tunis up an Otter holding onto the point. Chris getting dangerously low. Ana doesn't have any nades or sleep dart anymore. Tunis up is dangerously low and will fall to their DPS. Chris DPG on the high ground, however, it will take out Chris. Bark back on the wrecking ball as Chris takes up Luzinga. Mel's half HP or quarter HP. Gonna get focused on herself as they go into OT territory. Rakuto picks off the Deadeye, stops it in its tracks. Dreaded and Rakuto, the only two members of the team who can touch. Rakuto makes it back to point. As long as Chris on the Moira. It's looking pretty dangerous for Otaku ANGEY. SDFK might be able to hold it here. If they don't have Luzinga on point, they win the map. And it looks like map 3 is going to go in favor of SDFK.
Yeah. That was a very long one fight. So
Play of the game.
if they were able to be more decisive from Notaku ANGEY, they would have been able to get a few more fights in and potentially flip that. But they only got one fight in, which they gambled and they lost. I'm just getting an update from Bark. We get the Heron Preds boomed. So, better luck next week.
And don't forget that if you're just now tuning in stream and missed it before, make sure to send all your feet pics to Heron directly. Heron 9, 911 on Discord.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't forget it. Make sure to send them right to him. I have an Eggman.
And I'm K4.
We'll see you next week. Oh wait. Oh, I forgot. This is not the end of the week. Match 3 coming up.
Feeding as usual.
Feeding as usual. The Dairy Cow strat.